is not fulfilled or is not full. Family, before I go on to telling you about the Amorites, we're going to be talking a little bit more because these Amorites, and this time it says that through their iniquities, the iniquities of the Amorites wasn't full yet. Okay, so we go down for that Genesis 15:16 precept, speaking of, but in the fourth generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. Matthew 23, we're hearing the same thing, and they actually point out who this pestilent, these Amorites are. Who are these Amorites? Let's look what Yahushua says in Matthew 23, verses 29 through 33. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you build the tombs of the prophets, the Hebrew men. You build these tombs and you garnish the sepulchres of the righteous, and say, if we had been in the days of our fathers, we would not have been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets. Yahushua says, wherefore ye be witnesses unto yourselves, that ye are the children of them which killed the prophets. Fill ye up then the measure of your fathers. He's saying, fill it up. But when we get to verse 16 in Genesis 15, it says, but in the fourth generation they shall come hither again. The same ones in Abraham's time that the Most High was warning him of. We see it, family, right here in Matthew when Yahushua was walking around. It says, but in the fourth generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. Yahushua says in verse 32 to these Pharisees and scribes, these hypocrites, fill ye up then the measure of your fathers. I hope that strikes home to you. We can look at the fathers. We spoke in verse 16 of the Amorites. I want to take you guys somewhere. I want to just bring a little bit of remembrance. This is the same type of being, pestilent, hybrid, that is spoken of in Numbers 13. I want to refresh your memory. It's going to give you further explanation of the same devouring palmer worm, locust, cankerworm, and caterpillar. It's going to give you an understanding more about the Amorites and how this same morphing but yet same hybrid has always been there. Let's read in Numbers 13. I'm at verse 28. It says, this is the time when Moses was sending spies out to spy out the promised land, right after the Exodus. Here's what's recorded. Numbers 13, verse 28. Nevertheless, the people being strong that dwelt in the land, and the cities are walled, and very great, and moreover, we saw the children of Anak there. Anak. Now, we're going to find out who these Amorites are, who these cankerworms are. It said, the Amalekites, that's your Jews, they were there. They dwelled in the land of the south, and the Hittites, these are African tribes, and the Jebusites, and the Amorites dwelled in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwelled by the sea and by the coast of Jordan. Are you seeing that what is spoken of about these Amorites will afflict the Most High seed, spoken of in Genesis 15, for 400 years? We can look back through history in the Bible. They have always been trying to keep the Most High's children out of that promised land. We're going to make it there, family. We will make it there, but we have to open the eyes so that you can see right in Scripture what they don't teach in the church systems or any religious system. They know this. They don't want you to know. It tells us just a little bit more information about these Amorites and these pestilence and palmer worms and so forth. It tells us in verse 32, And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, the land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof. They were cannibals. They devoured, they consumed. And all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. Well, how can that be? How can that be? But our Father let you know that they have morphed. But it's the same deities that have morphed. And they've been consuming and devouring his children. Family, it says in verse 33, and there we saw the giants, the son of Anak, which come of the giants. And we were, speaking of the Hebrews, in our own sight as grasshoppers. And so we were in their sight. Some of this stuff sounds so sci-fi. But family, this is word. We're just putting it together for you. We link in these same devouring pestilence that all they do is consume. And they've been consuming and devouring the children of the Most High. We're making the connection. That's all we're doing here. I just want to make sure that you guys get the understanding that when Yahushua was speaking and telling these scribes and Pharisees, calling them hypocrites, and telling them that they were the ones who killed off the Hebrew prophets, same ones that we could claim that they were the ones who killed Yahushua. Remember, Yahushua came out of the line of Judah. He was a Hebrew. Ain't nothing changed in the message. Nothing changed. He wasn't a Jew. He was a Hebrew. After he tells them that they killed the prophets, and he said, fill ye up then the measure of your fathers. Well, we got to go and see, what is the measure of their fathers? What is the measure of these scribes, these Pharisees, these palmer worms, these locusts, cankerworms, caterpillars, Amorites, children of Anak? What is the measure of their fathers? The same morphing beings throughout Scripture that have been going into generations and generations, consuming and devouring the Most High's people, that Joel the prophet tried to warn us of. Well, family, we're going to take you to John. Go ahead to John and go to chapter 8, verse 44. We're going to tie this in really nice and clear. We know that these pestilence, I like the word pestilence, we have to find out what was the measure that he said, the measure of your father. Go ahead and fill ye up the measures of your father. What was the measure of their fathers? When we get to John 8, verse 44, we find out. It reads, ye are of your father the devil. Period. Ye are of your father the devil. How clear can you get? It goes further and says, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. Family, we're seeing right here, I'm going to break it down again, that the measure of what their fathers did was through lust. What is the lust? Murdering and lying. Yahushua is calling them out. Ye are of your father the devil. Who? We're talking about the cankerworm, the Pharisees, the scribes, the Amorites, the children of Anak, the palmer worm, the locust. These are all the same being. He said, ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. What was that lust? Tells us he was a murderer from the beginning. Hey, that's Cain. That's Cain right there. And he abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. Let's break that down, the murdering part And he says that they were murderers from the beginning. We got to break that down and break down that they abode not in the truth. Let's go to Genesis 4, and I'm going to read